Jerry, turn off the TV. It's time for the Pope. Oh, Mac Driver's here. The Pope's here. The Pope's here for the last final week of fantasy football here. We've got new lights. It's Christmas time here. We gotta get this shit out of here. Mac Driver's here. It's been a crazy last couple weeks here in fantasy football. It's been a crazy couple weeks here for the poop shoot. It's been a crazy last couple weeks for the fantasy football show here. I've got record-breaking deals in Taiwan right now. I spoke to the Prime Minister in Thailand here. The Thailands and the Taiwans, they want Mac Driver to come fly out there for Christmas time here. So you don't see Mac Driver around in the Christmas times here. Mac Driver's in Taiwan and Thailand here. I'm in the process of getting my name changed to the Pope here. Pope Francis, he's going away here. We're doing a whole Christmas vacation style to the Vaticans, the Hanukkans. We're spelling Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, Kwanzaa, Christmas, happy birthdays, tequila day, every day that you can think of. Mac Driver is going to be celebrating it here. And it's starting off with going to Thailand here. We may even go to Austria here. I don't know here. But I can definitely tell you we're not going to California. Mac Driver doesn't like the Californians. He doesn't want to go to LA here. He doesn't like those kind of people. He definitely doesn't like San Francisco's here. We don't want to go around there. We don't want to go anywhere near west here. Maybe we'll go to Alaska here. Alaska's pretty cold around this time of year here. But let's not wait any longer here. This is the final week of the fantasy football regular season. So, you know, it's going to come down to the wire here. We got a lot of things to talk about here. There'd be a lot more things to talk about this week if someone didn't rush their goddamn mouth and say shit during the day here. I really wish I would have saw that in the Discord earlier, but some of us have to work during the day and not at night. So, without further ado, let's go to my favorite parts of here. Of this week, and that's the power rankings here. A lot of changes again this week here. I told you last week there was gonna be some fluke people in the top spot and the bottom spot here, and things are kind of looking where they should be here. Some surprises in the top 6, I must say here. Some surprises in the bottom 6, I will say too. There's been a full tilt in the last couple weeks here. The last 3 weeks of the Poop Shoot Fantasy Football is you can't really honestly write it here. Well, again, without further ado, let's get to the power rankings. So, coming in at no surprise at 12th place is going to be Mike here. There's a lot to talk about Mike here, but we won't get to that. He actually drops 1 place. Mike actually was in 11th place last week here. Mike now drops down to 10th, or I'm sorry, 12th here. We can't talk right now. Going down now, minus 10 spots here. The biggest dip, well, actually the second biggest dip here in the Poop Shoot here is going to be Nate. Nate dropping all the way back down to 11 where he needs to be here. Staying at number 10 is going to be Rob. Coming down 3 places here is going to be Charlie. I put Charlie at 6 last week here, and again, she fails me, and she goes all the way down to 9th place here. Coming at number 8 is yourself, Mac Driver here, dropping 3 places. This is the worst that I've been all fantasy football season. I'm on a 3-game losing streak here. It's just the worst thing we could ever do here. Going up 1 spot, the 7th is Ariana. Now let's get into the top 6 here. Monica will break into the top 6. I don't know if Monica's been in the top 6 for the entire season here. I'd have to go back and recalculate everything, but I think this is the first time she's cracked the 6th here. Dropping up 4 places is going to be Matt here to number 5 here. No more big changes here. We have Eric coming in at 4th. We have Bitch coming in at 3rd. Little flip-flop. Broderick last week no, Broderick stays at 2nd. No, Broderick stays at 2nd place here. I can't read anything there. Lost 1 player. You're a disgrace. You are a disgrace, Charlie. And going back to where she normally should belong here is Amanda at number 1. Everything is right in the world. Amanda 12-1 here. Still has 1 more game to go here. And arguably the greatest regular season fantasy football that we have ever seen in Poop Shoot history and in fantasy football history. A tremendous year. Let's look at some matchups that we had last week. I had Broderick going over Ariana. I was correct. I had Bitch over Charlie. I was correct. I had Rob over Matt. I was incorrect here. I had myself over Amanda. I was incorrect. Eric over Vienna Beef Wiener Breath. I was correct. And Monica over Mike. I was correct again. Another 4-2 here. Another 4-2 performance here. But let's get to the matchups of this week here. A lot is on the line for a lot of teams here. We know that Amanda is the #1 seed, and Broderick pretty much is going to be the #2 seed. I think Broderick needs to lose, and Ryan needs to put up about over 250 points and still win. I don't think it's going to happen here. But the first matchup of the week is going to be myself, the Pope Driver, going up against Eric here. Eric has 4 players on a bye. I myself am on a 3-game losing streak. Eric needs to win this game to officially get himself into the playoffs here. Now, I don't think there's really a chance that Eric doesn't make the playoffs here, but to solidify himself, he gets the win. He goes to the playoffs here. Matchup number 2 is the worst matchup we have ever seen in the Poop Shoot history. Hey, my friend Matt Allred, thank you so much for coming on in, baby. The worst matchup in Poop Shoot history is going to be Vienna Beef Wiener Breath against Rob. Now, Rob and I have had many conversations on the side here, and he thinks there's a conspiracy that young Pazuzu has got a voodoo doll going up against him. Every time, if you look, a team that plays Rob, there is one asterisk. There's one player that always goes off here. Vienna Beef is going to have the whole team go off here on Rob. It's just going to be a fact here. Vienna Beef gets the win here to give Rob the worst record. Actually, no, even if Vienna Beef still wins, Rob will still be in 11th place because Vienna Beef has barely put over 1,100 points this season. A true disgrace here. Next matchup is Mike versus Ryan. Mike is on a 4-game losing streak. He is on the biggest tilt that we have seen in the last month here. And we have Ryan on a 4-game winning streak to solidify himself that he is, yes, in the playoffs. He's the real deal. He's the defending champion. Mike needs to win this game to make the playoffs. Is he going to win this game? He is not going to win this game. Bitch with the win. Final 3 matchups of the week here. We have Matt versus Ariana. Matt, out of nowhere, has came and put himself in the prime playoff position. Ariana is on a 2-game winning streak after skidding 3 to 4 games. Ariana, though, is officially knocked out of the playoffs no matter if she wins and how many points she puts up. She is just systematically out of the playoffs here. Matt gets the victory to come out of nowhere to put himself in the playoffs. Then we have Charlie versus Monica. Now, we talked about coming out of nowhere for Matt. Monica is on a 3-game winning streak, and I absolutely have no idea where this is coming from. A 3-game win streak, and here's the biggest thing that I want to talk about here. Monica has made 3 waivers the entire season. That is no trades, but 3 waivers, and somehow she is in 6th place. She is 6-7, and she is 1 win away from going to the playoffs here. That is absolutely absurd and disgusting. With all that being said, though, Monica gets the victory. Monica goes to the playoffs here. Last matchup of the week could very well be the Poop Shoot Championship prequel, Amanda versus Broderick. Now, Broderick, I said before, pound for pound, has the best team in fantasy football, and there is no denying that, with the injuries backed up against Amanda right now. But Broderick has not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, but 6 players that are on a bye this week. Amanda gets the victory, easy as that. So now let's talk about the playoffs here. Who's in, who's out, who can maybe sneak in, who's gonna get snuck out here. We know for the next 3 players here are confirmed in the playoffs here. We have Amanda, who never will be the #1 seed, Broderick probably the strong 2, and Ryan will be the 3rd one. We have now 4 teams, 7-6 and 6-7. We have Eric and Mike leading the pack at 7-6, and Matt and Monica at 6-7. It's anyone's ball game. You control your own destiny. The final, I've said it before, but I'll say it again, the final 3 teams to make it to the playoffs is going to be Eric, Matt, and Monica. To make the playoffs, Mike will go down on a 5-game losing streak in the biggest mid-season to end season decline in the Poop Shoot history, from one of the best teams, the most highest scoring teams, to not even making the damn playoffs here. It's never been seen before. Never been seen until now. From 7-2 to 7-7. How sweet it is. The playoffs are among us. I cannot wait for the playoffs to start here. Mag Driver, He's out of the playoffs again for the third straight year. I said it was 5. I did some research here. Intel helped me out here. It's been 3 years here. Matt Driver has not been in the playoffs the last 3 years. You can say what you want, say what you will here. Matt Driver's coming back next year, stronger and hotter than ever here. Exactly. So, let's leave the time. If anyone has anything to say, any spokesperson, spokesmamas, spokelamas, anything to say, any good lucks, any bad luck, cheers, jeers, leers, and all the above tiers. The floor is yours and yours alone.
Hey, this is Pendables checking in.
Hello.
Just want to say, everybody in this league sucks. You let me come back from 1-4 to making the playoffs. You can all suck my dick.
Oh, some harsh words there, young one. Harsh words, young one, but you've heard it. The whole league sucks dick, except Mac Driver. Mac Driver doesn't suck dick. He sucks tequila down like a fish. Does anyone else have anything to say or forever hold your little peace here? This will then conclude the #1 watched fantasy football show in America, in the world, in Taiwan, Thailand, Austria, Australia, South Korea, North Korea, East Korea, South Asia, North Asia, Thailand, Iraq, Cyrac, Pakistan, Pakistan, all the stands, all the cons, all the Patels. Watch it. Mac Driver's out here. We'll see you next week.